In this video, I'm going to give you an introduction to non-90 degree triangles. And for those who've been doing trig, this is quite a exciting day because up until now, basically for most of grade 10, you've only been able to do trig in a 90 degree triangle with SOHCAHTOA. And for the first time, things just crack open to be working in non-90 degree triangles. And so what we do is we have different options of what to choose based on what we have. And so my advice is to always first work out the missing angles. So even in my example here, I've got an 80 and a 70, that's 150. So it would be great to sub in the 30 first. And so try to discipline yourself to always fill in the missing angles, because then you don't need to be stressing later in the middle of an exam. Then how do I know that I'm dealing with sine rule? It's because I've got pairs of opposite sides and angles. And so like I've highlighted here, I've got the side 10 and its opposite angle 80. I've got the side x and its opposite angle of 70. And so because I've got two pairs, I know that I'm doing sine rule. I personally like to put the thing that I want on top. Again, it just simplifies life in the middle of a test or exam. And so I put x on top over sine of 70 equals 10 over sine of 80, and then all I have to do is just move the sine 70 up to the top, and I can put that in my calculator. If I needed an angle and I didn't have this 70 and it was theta, then I would have put sine theta at the top over its side and carried on, and because I needed a theta I would have shifted at some point. How do I know that this version of cos rule is needed? It's because I've got side and the included angle side. So I've got side, angle, side, not just side, side and an angle. It has to be included. Typically you'd be wanting the opposite side. And so this is just a set formula, but the way that I find helps to remember it is just thinking I'm focused on the next door neighbors, the guys next to the angle. And so it's kind of like Pythagoras to start. X squared equals 3 squared plus 5 squared minus, there's always a 2 in the formula, times the next door neighbors, 3 times 5, and it's cos rule. So I do need cos at some point. So it's times cos of the angle. That just gave me 19. And so obviously if I want x, I square root that. A variation of that you won't get in the formula sheet, but I find is exceedingly helpful, is to use cos rule when I have side, side, side. And so if I needed this angle theta, I would immediately go, I'm going to use cos rule. So cos theta equals, and again, I focus on my next door neighbors. And so it's 3 squared plus 6 squared, the two next door neighbors, minus the other one, 5 squared, over, there's the magical 2 that's part of the formula, 2 times the next door neighbors. And why this is a nice way of writing it is because I can just go shift cos in one shot. I can punch this in my calculator and out spits my answer. Let's practice it again. So you say to me, I need A. So focus on your two next door neighbors here, 5 and 6. So it would be cos A equals 5 squared plus 6 squared minus the opposite side squared over magical 2 times the next door neighbors, 5 and 6. One shot, I just go shift cos of all of that and I get my answer. Obviously if you had those two answers, you could just do sum of triangle to get the other one. Last one we're going to talk about is the area rule, which again specifically you need side and the angle in between and side. So we've got the same triangles up here, and this one is pretty chilled. It's like grade 8 or 9. The area would just be half base times height, and the base and the height are simply the next door neighbors times, and what makes it a bit confusing compared to the side angle side earlier for cos rule used cos, now we're using sine. So it's half the next door neighbors times together times sine of the angle in between, and just like that you get your answer. And so if I had to force you to get the area for this triangle, you could go half the one side, 4, times the other side, 3, and that's where grade 8, 9, and 10 would probably stop off. And then you could just say, I'm going to do sine of the angle in between. And we know that sine 90 is just 1, and that's why we don't traumatize grade 8 and 9s by giving all of this. This just becomes 1 anyway, so it just becomes half of 12, which is 6 units squared. I hope that you found that useful and helpful for introduction to non-90 degree triangles and how to select cleverly which method to use. If you did find this useful, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends. Thanks.